I'm definitely a type A person, but I can totally go with the flow, just as long as I know what time the flow starts. What is the vibe of the flow? Can I look up the menu of the flow beforehand? Jokes, jokes. But honestly, with my recent trip to Korea, I do feel like I hit the right balance between planning and spontaneity. And this trip just like healed so much in me. Oh my gosh, I can totally see why people say to just travel instead of seeing a therapist. Prior to COVID, I would solo travel a new country like once or twice a year. It's just something that I kind of forgot was very, very important to me. And so with that, hey, I'm Niba, and these are my notes on how to plan your Korea trip without overspending. I'm sharing my best recommendations for flights, accommodations, shopping, restaurants, and skincare treatments in Seoul, all budget-friendly without missing out on the good stuff. Nothing in this video is sponsored, and all the opinions are my own. If there's anything specific you're looking for or curious about, feel free to use the chapter markers to skip around. Excluding the shopping I did for gifts for other people and the skincare stuff, my total trip expenses came out to $1,500 for 8 days and 8 nights in Seoul. To get more of me in the form of vlogs and makeup and nature stories and just random thoughts, you can check out my socials. I'm NotesByNiba on all platforms. And if you want to get more of me even earlier, you can check out my videos early on Nebula. So let's crack this guide open. First, you want to decide what's important to you, and this can only be 3 things maximum, and I recommend more like 1 to 2, because if everything's a priority, then nothing's a priority. For me, those priorities were getting gifts for people and skincare treatments that would be much more affordable in Seoul than in the US, and just like art exhibits, pop-ups, things that would only be there for a temporary limited amount of time, because I already knew going into Korea that I would be going back a second time. Which did mean deprioritizing other things like food. Like, not gonna lie, I love Korean food and I was super stoked for it, but there were so many other places I wanted to go and things I wanted to do that food just really was the bottom of my priority list. Anyway, what this means is that as I planned my itinerary, I focused on the things I really wanted to do, and there was such good food everywhere that I just kind of ended up going into random spots here and there. Next, we'll do the specifics. Let's start with flights, because they're usually the most expensive part of the whole thing. If you're flexible with your travel dates, this is one area that you can save a lot. The best times to go are usually in spring and autumn, so April, May, June, September, October, November. These months will give you great weather, sunny and dry days with nice, comfortable temperatures. But if you're looking to save on flights, January tends to have the cheapest fares, but if you want to avoid the cold winter weather, November, October, and March are pretty good too. For the best deals, you want to combine it with credit card points, book a few weeks ahead for domestic flights and a few months ahead for international, plus try booking on a Tuesday because it's often cheaper. For my trip, I flew in late August, and the cost of my round-trip tickets from San Francisco was just under $800. Depending on where you're flying from and the time of year, the cost can definitely go even cheaper than that. For accommodations, I'm just gonna say that I think high-end hostels are definitely the best way to travel Seoul, whether you're a solo traveler or a couple or traveling as a small little group. There are tons of amazing hotels, but think about it. You're in Korea. How much time are you actually going to be spending in your hotel? I knew I'd be out exploring most of the time, so I opted to save that money for something else instead. If you need hotels for specific reasons, or if they're in your budget, or you just have a specific hotel you really want to go to, I'd say just go for it, because from what I've read of hotels online in Seoul, they seem pretty great. Otherwise, I found the high-end hostels in Seoul to be fantastic. I stayed at 3 different ones. All of them were clean, all of them were well run, and every one of them was under $37 a night. For foreigner-friendly options, you can search Guest House, which is a great way to experience Korean hospitality at a lower cost. Guest houses in Seoul have a huge range from like cozy urban B&Bs to traditional hanoks with options for dorms or private rooms. They're located in popular areas like Hongdae, Yeonnam, and Seongsu. Those are all great places to visit and then explore from around there. Now, out of the 3 hostels that I stayed at, I am really tempted to gatekeep my favorite one because it was so affordable and so centrally located, but I want to share it with you guys so you have a good experience too, and the name is Bluebird Guest House. Here's a quick version of my review. So this guest house is in an amazing location in Mapogu. It has very easy check-in and thoughtful little touches like including umbrellas and package deliveries. It's quiet, super clean, and has everything that you need for a comfortable stay. For the full review, you can check out the short that I published on my socials. For all the girls who are interested in doing intensive skincare procedures or cosmetic surgeries, there's a female-only hostel in Gangnam that I highly recommend. For that one, just message me directly on my Instagram though. I ended up kind of stumbling into it by accident, and even though I wasn't doing a cosmetic surgery or a really intensive skincare treatment, it was still very, very welcoming, and I highly recommend it for solo female travelers or groups of female travelers. Sorry to be so hush-hush on this one, they're trying to keep it a little under wraps. Next, for skin and hair treatments, research and timing are everything, especially when you're on a budget. I found a lot of Korean hair salons, skincare clinics, and spas all to be cheaper and really high quality, but some of those skincare clinics are really just taking advantage of foreigners and have exorbitant prices compared to their competitors. In order to get the most out of your treatments in Korea, you also want to go in a specific order. First, you want to start with any hair and scalp treatments to avoid any reactions with facial or injectable treatments later. Next is facials, and cleansing facials in particular will help remove impurities and prep your skin for better absorbency. If you're getting any injectables, I recommend doing a hydrating facial to help preemptively reduce the irritation. Next, I would recommend getting all of your injectables like Botox, fillers, or Rejuven kind of before your microneedling, so that way it allows time to settle for the optimal effect. There are some places that will deliver those products via microneedling for even better benefit, which is what I opted for. You just want to make sure you talk to the doctor first. And generally, it's good to follow your injectables 2 weeks later with microneedling. And then you kind of want to wait at least 2 weeks for everything to settle in before doing anything like microneedling, lasers, and additional facials. So it gives time for the injectables to settle. That being said, there are ways to kind of slim all of this down. And here you can pause to read my suggested timeline for a 2-week plan and a 4-week plan. Planning wise, it's kind of nice to do these right before your flight back home because you don't want to be in the sun immediately after these procedures. And if you're planning to hike a mountain or something or go to Jeju Island, that might not be the best thing to do after these procedures. Most skincare clinics can be booked directly on WhatsApp, and unless you're doing a major cosmetic surgery, it's not really required to know exactly what you want. But that said, you should still very much try and do your research beforehand. I personally also strongly recommend asking the doctor as well, because it's also a good test to make sure that what they say aligns with what your research is, and also that they're willing to talk to you and answer your questions. Here you can pause to read some of the questions that I suggest you ask them. Not all skincare clinics in Korea are incredible. Some of them have really pushy sales tactics and a lack of transparency, and one of them kind of made me feel like I was just a piece of meat in a fast food restaurant, which was not a good feeling. One of the places I went to shamed me for asking questions, which I found to be a huge red flag. Some of these were really surprising to me given how much they were hyped up online, but I think I know why, and I kind of went into all the details of my experience and stuff on my socials, and if you want to see the places that I don't like very much, you can check that out over there. But here I want to share the clinic that I wholeheartedly recommend, which is UWA, aka UWA. They were everything I hoped for and more. They answered all my questions, they weren't pushy, they let me book just 2 days in advance after I had some really bad experiences with the other ones and had to frantically figure out what to do. And they even stayed open late past their closing to make sure I fully got every single step of their care. And unlike some of these other places, UWA's prices were incredibly reasonable. I got treatments of InMode and Rejuven, and it came out to just being $476. For the full details about each of these clinics and my experience there, I posted some shorts on my socials. All right, let's talk shopping. This is going to be so specific based on whether you want clothing, makeup, gaming stuff, whatever it is. But I will say one thing that unites them all, and is definitely a budget-friendly hack, is that pop-up culture is huge there. These are just temporary shops that just pop up all over the city, and they sell everything from skincare to clothes to stationery to local art. They're everywhere in Seoul, and you'll find things that are super unique and get tons of free samples and lots of exclusive promos. I think I got over 35 free samples of skincare products, and so now I just have those little travel size things sitting in my carry-on, and I've just been using them instead of my skincare. Plus, I don't know, shopping at these pop-ups always makes me feel like I'm in on some kind of secret. To keep up with what's going on, I recommend following these Instagram accounts, and you can also check out hashtags like this and this in order to see what's happening around the city. Next, let's talk food. There are tons of cheap food options and convenience stores all over Seoul, and these are perfect for if you want to grab a quick bite, and everything there was super delicious, but I found that there weren't a lot of veggies there. In some countries, grocery stores can actually be the go-to for budget meals, but in Korea, they're only slightly cheaper than convenience stores. So honestly, just stick to the convenience stores because in Asia, they're actually convenient and have everything you need. I went into maybe 11 grocery stores in Korea. I really like going to grocery stores when I travel because you get a little slice of life for people there. Even though restaurants wasn't at the top of my list, I did find some extremely budget-friendly ones that I think you'll love. First up is this cute all-you-can-eat bibimbap place called BBD in Hongdae. It was super good and under $8, such a deal. My absolute favorite though was Kyoja, which is a Michelin guide spot with just 4 items on the menu. Simple, but amazing. For full details on this, I posted some shorts on my socials, so check those out if you want all the juicy details. And one more thing is that eating out is very communal here, so you'll see a lot of people eating in groups, and online I read that some places turn away solo diners. I never experienced that, but then again, I actually didn't go to any high-end restaurants, so I'm not sure. So those are all my notes on traveling Korea on a budget. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the like, and if you didn't, you should like it anyways. And normally I would ask you to tell me why you didn't like it, but actually, I am curious. I've been doing a little more traveling lately and making more content like this, and I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it, so please comment below what you think about this stuff. And with that, I'll see you on the next page. Next, let's talk food. Your favorite.